it's back to Angela, who gets her initial coloring added via airbrush, starting with white on her eyes and pink on the inside of her well-proportioned, toothless mouth. Her underside I'll give a sandy beigey base coat, making sure to give her eye wrinkles, ankles, and wrists a little blast as well, before replacing the beige with a deep velvety red to base coat her fingers, toes, and the tops of her fins. Then a lighter red for the inside of the fins, followed by a deep blue blasted over the rest of her body will finish those base coats off. I can then come back with a lighter blue to carefully dust the uppermost parts of her blue body where the light is hitting fur from the top before putting the airbrush away and painting the inside of her mouth with a dirty reddish purple, wet blended together with a mid-tone pink. All the various beigey bits get a watery sepia wash applied to add a bit of depth, then I'll follow that with a lighter, very watery khaki that I'll apply haphazardly and allow it to pool, creating a coffee stain effect that will leave the centers lighter with darker rings around the edges. All the red bits get a similar sort of a watery, lighter tone added on top, then I'll add a pinkish, reddish, beigeish mix dotted from the red to the beige to the blue before aggressively sponging a light blue over all the dark blue body bits. Finally, I'll poke some very watery, very light blue on top and stipple that in for a final bit of texture, followed by some teeny tiny watery blue dots along her uppermost sections. To paint her eyes, I'll give her a bandit mask made of masking putty so I can use my airbrush to create a smooth initial fluorescent blue base coat followed by a pure white blasted into the center to create a clean, smooth gradient. I'll then dot more of that blue over top to create some more coffee staining texture before peeling her mask off and reattaching her teeth, which, in a very out of character moment, I made sure to label appropriately beforehand so I knew into which gum they were supposed to go. They're a bit too pristine looking though, so I'll wash the bottoms with a sepia wash to make them look a little grungy. Then it's time to give her a shiny, slimy look by giving her entire body a full once over with a high gloss varnish. Once that's dried, I'll give her eyes a thick layer of UV resin so they're extra goopy and shiny. Also, I figured at this point she's pretty monstrous, but I need a bit of storytelling, so I made a little fisherman's leg attached to a boot that fits neatly into her hand, as well as some little yellow scraps of coat still stuck between her teeth. Otherwise, it's time to get to work making her not resin watery base. A quick fit check will make sure the rocks are positioned appropriately for her legs, and a bit of hot glue will hold them in place while I remove her and pour my water, which, in lieu of resin, is going to be made of a channel favorite, Soudal Crystal Clear Silicone. This stuff is the tits. It's just plain old adhesive silicone so you can easily apply it with a caulking gun, and it really is crystal clear. Also, since it's silicone, it's hella sticky and it'll hold just about anything in place, but it's easy enough to manipulate with a gloved finger dipped in isopropyl alcohol. Once I've pressed the silicone neatly around the base, I'll fit some more little rocks I made off camera around the base using the silicone as a glue before dropping some little scraps of bloodied yellow raincoat on top. Finally, I can fit Angela into her preordained rocky outcropping and wire the wires beneath to a little battery pack I already attached to the underside. Otherwise, that's us done here and onto the glamour shots. As always, a big ol' thank you to those gems over on Patreon, and a special hey how are ya to the newest of them, OneSketchy.com, Drew Wise, Taylor in London, Isabeau Busy, Shinigami, Pixigaboy, Adam Pulls McAllister from Hasbin Hotel, Morgan Lewandowski, Daniel Vega, Allison Wilson, Emily Rose 64, Hammers, Demon Golden Mangle, Simply Nancy, and Rosalind and Meg. You are the little raincoat wearing lunch that feeds this deep sea monstrosity of a channel. Don't forget to floss daily, otherwise we'll see you next time. Cheers.